Okay, now we're going to move on to the second injury sustained by an athlete. So this one is by Toby Alderweireld. He's a footballer. He plays as a centre-back, and he's at a professional level. His injury was a ripped hamstring, so this put him out for about 6 to 8 months. The overview, so basically what happened was the ball was loose, and both the defender and attacker both decided to slide to retrieve the ball. However, instead of connecting with the ball, the attacker connected with Alderweireld's leg. This high-velocity impact caused the defender's hamstring to rip from the bone. This caused excruciating pain and immediate swelling, and this injury results with Toby Alderweireld being out for 6 to 8 months. So again, probably about a total week span of about 26 weeks, about 6 months. So the first stage in the first 1 or 2 weeks is the acute stage again, followed by the functional movement stage between 3 and 8 weeks, then strengthening from 9 to 17 weeks, then finally 18 to 26 weeks, sport-specific training. So again, the goals for these individual stages are reducing swelling during the acute stage, introducing proprioception during functional movement, introduce body weight and weight training exercises and strengthening, and sport-specific training is just skills, just sport-specific training during that. That's the goal for that one. And then again, the training focuses during the acute stages is to rest until the pain and swelling has disappeared. Functional movement is static and dynamic stretching of the muscle to regain range of motion. And passive and ballistic stretching to further increase range of movement and introduce balance and stabilization work. Then during the strengthening stage, training focuses are body weight exercises, low intensity and high repetitions, followed by free weight exercises at higher intensities and lower amount of repetitions. Then lastly, during the strengthening phase, eccentric loading exercises such as weighted stretches for low to high repetitions. And then lastly, in the sport-specific training section, the training focuses would be to introduce lateral movements and direction-changing drills, introduce speed and power work back into the training sessions, and introduce all strength, speed, and agility drills in sport-specific training for the last 3 or so weeks of recovery. So again, as you can see here, same as last time, the graph showing the inflammation and repair and remodeling stages and their durations. So inflammation is obviously very short, repair is slightly longer, and then remodeling is a lot longer. Okay, so my method of treatment for a hamstring rip would start off with no soft or deep muscle tissue massages, because this is during the acute stage, because at this time the muscle will be very, very tender, and probably unbearable to put much much pressure onto the muscle. Cryotherapy and thermotherapy I feel as though would be crucial at this stage. So really trying to get that blood flowing by really cooling down the muscle, and then warming it right back up. Again, just circulating that blood through there to keep the blood flow going through. No electrotherapy, acupuncture, or cupping at this stage. I felt as though taping would be rather beneficial for the athlete, especially for this injury, because it just gives the muscle a little bit, because it's obviously ripped, it's almost non-existent, so the taping really just tries to hold the shape and maintain a little bit of strength with the injury. Then flexibility and proprioception and strength I wouldn't include at all during the first acute stage. So then during the functional movement stage, I would start to incorporate soft tissue massages, but very, very gently. So I've given it a 1 because I felt as though you should introduce it, but not very often because of how delicate the muscle still would be. Deep tissue massages are still not happening for the first 3 weeks of functional movement because of how tender it still would be. But maybe trying to incorporate it a little bit during the last 3 weeks of the functional movement stage. And again, with the soft tissue, just increasing the amount that you would do it. Still, cryotherapy and thermotherapy very important at this stage. Just trying to increase that blood flow. Starting to maybe introduce electrotherapy to increase the range of movement, and then it gets more and more important as the time goes on. Still no acupuncture or cupping methods. Taping still very important, just to keep the shape and strength of the muscle, and maybe start to incorporate slowly some flexibility drills, or not drills, sorry, just exercises, just to increase range of movement. And then proprioception, start to do that to increase the stability of the muscle, which is obviously one of the aims, and to increase range of movement as well. And still no strengthening exercises, because I feel as though the muscle in the injury would be too delicate at this stage. And then during the strengthening phases, I would say soft tissue, probably about 3, maybe decreasing just towards the end. Important at the start, just again to increase the blood flow, same as the deep tissue massages, to increase that blood flow through the muscle. That will help the recovery quite well. And then cryotherapy, thermotherapy, and electrotherapy, all still very important at this stage, because they all help to increase blood flow and increase the range of movement of the injury, which is very important. Again, still on acupuncture or cupping methods, and then taping still being used, maybe being used a little bit more now as the injury is starting to repair. But yeah, still using it, maybe just for the psychological benefits, as mentioned last time. And then flexibility drills and proprioception drills still very important, increasing that range of movement and increasing stabilization. And then lastly, as it's obviously the strengthening phase, strength exercises getting very important now, trying to regain the strength in the hamstring injury. So yeah. And then lastly, the stage is sport-specific training. So by now, week 18, I've said really try and reduce the amount of soft tissue massages happening, but building up this deep tissue massages, because I feel as though now they should be very important, because the injury has recovered, but it's just to really get that blood flow going to reduce the duration of recovery. Thermotherapy, cryotherapy and electrotherapy still being used, but definitely not as much as they were at the beginning, because now the hamstring injury has had a lot of time to recover. It started to become less important. No acupuncture or cupping. Taping, now they're coming back into sport-specific drills. I thought maybe the use of taping, especially the psychological benefits that come with it, they might think that the injury is a lot stronger, so they're not so worried about it, which is a good thing. And then obviously, as they're starting to do more actual like outdoor exercise, I thought that flexibility would still be quite a good thing to incorporate, and proprioception, as they need those fast reactions whilst they're playing. And then strength as well, starting off quite important, and then just reducing it as the hamstring injury gradually recovers. So then during the inflammation stage, this will occur as soon as the injury is sustained, like last time. Due to the injury being a hamstring rip, the most severe strain that can occur, this will cause serious inflammation. The player will experience severe pain during the stage, and the hamstring will swell up a considerable amount. Due to the severity of the injury, the inflammation stage can last up to a week, with the swelling slowly reducing over time. The pain will remain, but reduce as well over time. And then during the repair stage, the repair stage will begin once the swelling has died down. The stage is slow and can take months to be fully completed. During this stage, the player is regaining strength and increasing their range of movement. And then during the remodeling stage, this includes constant deep tissue massages. Reason being that it is crucial to maintain blood flow to the area of the injury. Also, strengthening exercises are still vital for the player's recovery, as they need to make sure that they fully regain their hamstring strength. To aid this, they're using treatment methods such as taping, which helps players physically and mentally, as mentioned before. Proprioception and flexibility sessions still take place to make sure that the player's range of movement is constantly being increased. Okay, now moving on to the goal setting aspect of recovery. So some short-term goals. Again, first thing really good to do would just be to come to terms with the injury, so accept that you are injured and that you are going to be out for a long time. Again, creating a diet plan now that you're less active. The food you eat doesn't get burned off because of the exercise, so you don't want to be gaining weight. So if you make yourself like a healthy diet plan, this can help you to maintain your body weight. Something good to do would be start to go to matches and watch training as well, because this will help you stay involved within the team and the sport. So this helps you psychologically and can also motivate you to get back out there onto the pitch. Something quite crucial also is to get sleep, because rest is vital in reducing the duration of the injury. And then you want to be able to pass your treatment review at the end of each stage to allow you to move on to the next stage to further aid your recovery. And then some medium goals would be to, again, watch your own previous game footage so that you can see what you can improve on when you come back. So you're not just sitting around doing nothing, you're actually, even though you're not actually playing, you're still trying to improve your performance. And then return to sport-specific training, that's another medium-term goal. And then maybe start training with the reserve team, so it's not full-on, it's slightly easier. And you're just gently coming back into the game. And then possibly play a full match for the reserve team. So again, it's not the A team, it's slightly easier, you might find it a little bit easier. And then returning to first team training and be able to complete possibly a half for the first team is another medium term goal. Then obviously the long term goal for you would be to get back to first team training and to be able to play regular football and retain a similar or better level of fitness than you were before the injury was sustained. And then again, here is the treatment plan. So all the figures here I've converted into a graph to show you how you would incorporate all the injuries and the duration as well.